All right, it's finished. A lot of you guys have been asking me to put out my July meta tier list because for some reason, a lot of you guys, and I mean a lot of you guys, loved my very last tier list in the sense of me making it a meta tier list rather than a triple S, double S, A, B, C, A, all those letters, right? You guys just like the simpler way, which is just meta, sub-meta, good, usable, and bad. So I've put it together. This is going to be going all the way up till Dorothy, so I'm not going to have another one until the end of next month, right? Because obviously I could have Eleg on this one, but I was like, nah, let me have Eleg be on obviously the very next one, because with the next one we're going to have summer characters and stuff like that. And this is a tier list where based on where we are in Nikke, characters are either going up or they're going down, and you guys are going to see that in this tier list. So before we get into it, make sure you guys subscribe and like. Let's try to get 20 new subscribers. I mean, let's just try to get to 24.9k subscribers today, and let's try to get at least 100 likes. I do want to put out a disclaimer. Obviously this is a tier list at the end of the day, so I know that not every single person watching this video is going to agree with every single placement, but try to be respectful in the comments. At the end of the day, a tier list is subjective. Like your tier list, for example, you might think it's the greatest thing ever, but somebody else looking at it might think like this is dumb, right? So just try to be respectful. Everybody's tier list is different at the end of the day. Nobody's gonna have the exact same tier list, but hey, if you guys agree, just let me know if you agree. If you don't agree, just let me know what you don't agree with and why, I guess, and then yeah. But let's get into the video. So as you guys see, I've done it, I've put it together. Like I said, I'm not gonna go over every individual character, but I am 100% going to like break down a decent amount of characters and the tiers. So obviously we have 5 tiers here. We have meta, sub-meta, good, usable, and bad. Right now in the meta tier are the characters that are basically godlike and broken in almost everything in the game collectively, right? This is an overall tier list at the end of the day. So literally PvE, PvP, all that is all put into here, right? So meta is the characters who are very, very good almost everywhere and anywhere they go. That's who the characters in meta are. In the sub-meta tier are the very good characters, aka the replacement for the godlike broken meta characters. They're basically characters that are very strong, very good, and again, almost anywhere you take them, they're just not as good as obviously the characters in meta above them. In the good tier, I feel like those are the characters who are going to be very good in 1 to 2 things in the game, but then kind of useless everywhere else. And then obviously in the usable tier, those are the characters who are going to have those niches that are useful, but again, you're not really going to put them on the team and use them unless again you need their niche usable skill. And then in the bad tier are just the characters that I feel like are not gonna be good whatsoever. Even if they have a usable niche, they're just not going to be used whatsoever, because again, at the end of the day, every single character is different. Like if you read a character's kit on paper, yeah, you might think this is very usable, but then if you use it in practice, you start to notice that it's actually not doing much, right? So yeah, I guess that kind of makes more sense. So let's go down the meta tier list, right? Obviously in the meta tier list I have Little Mermaid, Litter, D-Killer Wife, Crown, Maid, Anchor, Maid, Mask, Trina, Naga, Alice, Anise, Scarlet, Black Shadow, Cinderella, Helm, Rappy, and Red Hood. Now, the reason why I have these characters here, let's talk about the burst ones, right? Litter, Little Mermaid, D-Killer Wife. I think these are the top 3 burst ones in the game if we're not considering Rappy's burst 1 state, if we're not considering Red Hood's burst 1 state. I think these characters right here are the meta characters. I think maybe I could put Rouge in there because technically, like if I have Trina up there, I should have Rouge up here, so I'm gonna put Rouge up there. These 4 characters are the meta characters, I would say, for burst 1, right? Obviously Little Mermaid is a very, very powerful character DPS wise, and she's probably the strongest burst 1 character in the game, but that's not why she's meta, right? She has all the effects that you want your team to have in almost all contents. She has fill burst gauge, she has a damaging buffs, she has sustain to an extent. I don't think she has damage reduction for herself. I'm pretty sure she gives damage taken on the enemy, which is helpful for the team. And then she has cooldown reduction. That is all the stuff you want a burst 1 character to have, and she is the only character in the game who can provide that for your team. She's easily, in my opinion, the best burst 1 character in the game. You have her and you can win anywhere. Like, I didn't even realize how crazy she was until I started going into anomaly interception with her, and I realized, like, yo, I can have her on almost every single anomaly interception, regardless if she's type advantage or not. And that's just crazy, right? And the same thing could be said for Litter as well. I feel like Little Mermaid is just a glorified version of Litter, and that's why Litter is no longer the best, right? But Litter is still very cool. She has, you know, cooldown reduction, a crazy attack buff. She is a character who can actually heal your cover, which is a very, very, very useful effect in every single aspect of Nikke. Probably just not PvP, because I don't even know if they have cover in PvP, or even if they do, it's gonna PvP takes too long or too quick. Like, PvP goes by so quick. So not Little Mermaid, but Litter is not gonna like be that useful with her cover in PvP, right? The Killer Wife is fantastic for piercing characters. Not only that, she's just good in general for bosses, right? Very helpful for, you know, again, the pierce characters when it comes to mobs and it comes to bosses. She's really just up there for that reason, right? Her damage isn't anything crazy, I wouldn't say, but she really can help you make your team a lot easier and smoother when using her. But again, I don't use her much if I'm not using the Pierce team. But again, the Pierce team is quite crazy, right? If you consider the piercing characters, they're quite powerful, right? But other than that, I just don't use her, right, like that, but sure. And then Rouge is fantastic for literally anybody in the game who requires max HP. She is beyond broken for that, right? So there are DPSs in the game like Cinderella who require max HP, healers in the game who require HP for their healing. This character, Rouge, is the absolute best character for giving a lot of max HP. And because of that, she's going to be a meta tier for me, right? When it comes to Crown, Maid, Mast, and Maid, Anchor, and Trina, and Naga, I feel like Crown is the same thing as Little Mermaid. She's literally broken no matter where you take her. She makes everybody on your account powerful. She has sustain, she has damage, she has buffs. She's just the best character in the game, in my opinion. At this point, like after Rappy, I have Crown as the best character in the game. And she is 2. Crown is 2, right? I then made Mast and made Anchor. I honestly wasn't gonna have them in meta, but I feel like those two together are like the next best thing if you don't have Crown. Like if I don't have Crown and I have made Mast and made Anchor, I'm using them. They just work with every single team and they just work with every single character. Both of these two characters combined is like, this is like literally the 2025 version of the Bunny Girls, right? They have buffs, they have healing, they have quite decent sustain and stuff like that, reload speed and stuff like that. That's another thing Crown has as well. All these characters, oh right, and Rouge and the Killer Wife both have the craziest cooldown reduction I've ever seen. They literally have the best cooldown reduction in the game, right? Their cooldown reduction is crazy. So that's another big feature, or I guess feat about both of those characters, right? But yeah, Mast and Anchor, I will literally just say like they're the next best thing after Crown in my opinion. And then Trina, I feel like her being in meta is only because her and Scarlet, like she only does realistically work for Scarlet. Like she does help out a lot of other electric characters when it comes to their AoEs off her, you know, second skill or burst skill, whatever skill that was. But realistically, her and Scarlet, right, is what makes her meta. Her whole kit is kind of revolved around Scarlet, and I don't feel like it's fair to say, okay, well, just because her kit revolves around one character, she shouldn't be meta, right? I mean, even if her kit does revolve around one single character, and maybe this is where you guys might be like, okay, you're contradicting yourself, Zxous. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. But I feel like if her entire kit is revolved around Scarlet, but even though it is revolved around only Scarlet and she's making Scarlet broken, I feel like that's more than enough to put her in meta. Like, I don't feel like she has to be good with every single character in the game for her to be able to go to meta, right? That's just my opinion, right? I don't know, because that's like saying Rouge can't be meta because she only works realistically with characters who need max HP, right? That's like saying the Killer Wife is only, well, no, I guess not, because then both of them still have the cooldown reduction, right? So you guys let me know, right? Trina's probably the only one that I would say is questionable. Maybe she could go to some meta, I don't know, right? Naga's a fantastic character. She can do damage, she can heal, she gives great damaging buffs, right? Especially to enemies with core, so that's why she's there. And then everybody from Alice, Summer and East, Scarlet Black Shadow, Cinderella, Helm, Rappy, and Red Hood, they're just broken. They're just broken DPSs. Obviously, some of these characters are sub DPSs. Like, you have Summer and East there, very powerful DPS and the best supporter for electric. You have freaking Helm here, who's just the best supporter for like all around, right? The best all around supporter in the game would be Helm, in my opinion, right? And she's a broken DPS. She has healing, fill burst gauge, attack damage buffs, insane damage, crit rate buffs. Like, she's just nasty, right? And then obviously Rappy and Red Hood, you guys, that's self-explanatory. Rappy is a insane broken burst 1 character, and if you're not using her as a burst 1 and using her as a burst 3, she's one of the strongest burst 3 DPSs in the game. And then obviously Red Hood, she's a character who can go into burst 1, 2, and 3 anytime in battle, and it can help you a lot. I feel like because she's still the only character in that, like, that can do that, Red Hood would always be meta until they drop more characters like that. But that simple fact of being able to go to burst 1, 2, and 3 anytime within the battle is more of a reason, like more of enough of a reason for her to be meta. Not to mention she's quite powerful everywhere you go, right? So I wanted to explain everything for every single meta character, but now that we're going down sub-meta, these are the characters who are realistically like useful here and there, but they're just not meta anymore. Or like, because a lot of the characters in sub-meta, I would say a lot of them used to be meta, right? Dorothy used to be meta, Blanc and Noir used to be meta, I would say Privity used to be meta, I would say Modernia used to be meta, I would say Maxwell is technically still meta, but like not, because like she was more meta back in the days because there wasn't many characters who were doing what she does. Now with Helm in the game, now with characters like Summer and East in the game, I guess even Red Hood, even Rappy to an extent, like her role isn't necessarily, it's not necessarily taken, but her role is like she's not number 1 anymore for what she's able to do when it comes to supporting other burst 3s on the team. You know what I mean? So that's just my opinion there, right? But I feel like these characters in some meta are the characters who are like literally your best replacements if you don't have these characters. In some cases, like if we're talking about water DPSs, for example, Dorothy right here is the best water DPS in the game. I just feel like she's only, I don't want to say she's only good against bosses, right? Because she's decent against mobs, but she's mainly good against bosses, right? She's mainly good against bosses and she's decent against mobs, but she's not anything like where I would say she has to be a meta tier, right? I guess technically I could have her a meta tier. I'm gonna have her a meta tier. She is the strongest water DPS, and that does play a lot, like a role in a lot of things, right? Solo raid, union raid, anomaly interception, you know, overclock mode, simulation room, story. She is a very good character there, realistically, so I'll give her that, right? I'll put her in meta for that reason only, right? But in some meta, I feel like these characters all have one very like niche. Laplace is very good against bosses, right? And she's just decent everywhere else. Mihara is the same thing, very good against bosses, but just decent in everything else. Asuka, both of them, fantastic against the boss, their type advantage against, but kind of just like regular and everywhere else. Same thing with Drake, kind of the same thing with Maiden. I would say Winter Maiden is not really like godly against bosses. I would just say she's godly on the electric team, right? But anywhere else, she's just decent. I would say Bunny Soda is the same thing as Maiden, where she's just kind of like godly on the shotgun team, or just in, I would say she's just godly on the shotgun team, and then like just pretty decent everywhere else. Privity's pretty good on every single team, but obviously again with now characters like Helm and Anise in the game, you don't necessarily need this character whatsoever. Like, you don't really need Privity. Modernia, I would say she's fantastic against mobs, but like decent everywhere else. Grave, fantastic with the Pierce team, decent everywhere else. Mari, fantastic with the Pierce team, decent everywhere else. Blanc is fantastic when it comes to healing, right, and keeping your team alive with healing, but like everywhere else, that like any other factor about her is just not that crazy. Like, I would never put Blanc on my team for sustain, you know what I mean, or for buffs and damages. I would only put her on the team if I needed a crazy healer, right? but if I don't need a crazy healer, I'm not using Blanc, right? Dorothy, fantastic against bosses, just not that crazy everywhere else, right? And that's just kind of how it is for everybody in some meta. They're fantastic in almost like one, they're like very, very, very godlike broken for one specific thing, and then everywhere else they're just like decent, right? Tove is fantastic for the shotgun team. Everywhere else she's just decent, right? Well, she's actually quite useless for the shotgun team. I didn't add any of the favorite items from the newest season because I haven't tried any of them yet, so it's not fair for me to rank them yet. So yeah, in good, you have the characters who are literally just godlike in one thing and then they're garbage everywhere else, in my opinion. Like Jackal is godlike in PvP but garbage everywhere else. Helm is godlike against any electric bosses but garbage anywhere else. Noah, godlike in PvP, garbage everywhere else. Guillotine is godlike when it comes to damages to bosses if you need her like as a sub DPS, right? But other than that, not really good anywhere else. I mean, she needs to have low HP to be good realistically, so it's gonna take her a bit of time. Obviously, Bunny Alice, godlike when it comes to healing, but on a 40-second cooldown, so it's like she's not really the best pick, and you have to re-enter the burst 1 stage. She's not the best pick. Biscuit, godlike in PvP, depending on who you're using her with in PvE, because I will always say Biscuit and Bay is godlike in PvE. I would always say Biscuit and Bay are a nasty combo for sustain in PvE. You guys hate when I say it, but it's true. I cannot die with that team. It is what it is, right? But in PvP, she's godlike. Everywhere else, she's not. Haran, godlike when it comes to early game of like early stages of Nikke. Not good anywhere else, realistically. Again, Amelia, godlike in PvP. All these characters, you kind of start to see a trend. And again, I'm not gonna go through every individual character because that's just not my job, realistically, to like have to explain why every single character is in said tier. A lot of these characters came out at the beginning of the game. I'm not gonna go over every single character every time I make one of these videos, right? I think once you guys start to understand the game a bit more, or anybody watching this video, if you already understand the game, this makes more sense to you. If you're a brand new player, maybe it's not going to make much sense to you, but once you read the characters kits and you try using them a bit or even watch videos on them a bit, you will kind of understand why they're in said tier. I'm not going to go over anybody in bad, they're just bad, but you guys can take a look at the bad tier and let me know if you think anybody should go up, right? Like before, I would have had Nihilister in usable because she was a burst 2 20-second cooldown pilgrim and she was the only one in the game, so when it came to tower, she was kind of like a must use there, right? But now that's not the case. She's bad, like she's just not good in my opinion, right? In usable, these are the characters who just have that niche but they're just not usable, like or they're just not going to be used as much, right? Eleg, her thing is like you use her, you instantly get to use your burst skill against a boss. That's a crazy niche. That's a crazy niche. But then after that, it's like she's not that great. Bay, her crazy niche is that she will keep her team alive. But if like that's all she will do, right? And you kind of need her to be with like another character because she's on a 40-second cooldown. And that's kind of the same thing with every other tank on the usable tier. When it comes to the DPSs, they're just like, they could do damage, but the damage they do is just not good enough for 2025, I feel like. And then all the healers here, like Mary, Summer Mary, for example, her niche is that she heals, but everything else that she uses or has like with her kit is for water characters, and it's just not good enough. It makes sense when you kind of understand the tiers, like I said, but I'm gonna end it here, right? Let me know if you guys agree with my tier list or not. This is a longer video, but realistically, I think I agree with my tier list. I think the only one I would move around, like if I had to really look at my tier list, the only characters I would like question if they should go up or down is like Tove maybe and Trina. Everybody else, I feel like they're in the right tier. Maybe I'm missing someone. No. I think I covered what I wanted to cover, right? Especially like breaking down what characters are like very good in something and then why they're just not, you know, and everywhere else. I don't know, but you guys let me know if you guys agree with my meta tier list. If you don't, you don't. If you do, you do. Either way, you enjoyed your time here, hopefully. It's your boy Zxous. Subscribe and like I said in the beginning of the video. Let's try to get to, I don't know, 14.9k subscribers today, I don't know, and then 100 likes I think I asked for. So yeah, it's gonna be your boy Zxous. Love every single one of you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm out. Later. Peace.